Bueno, hola René, mucho gusto. Tal como tú lo dices, mi nombre es Jorge Veliz y
Good
represento
morning, my name is Jorge Veliz. I represent Coletanche Technical. My presentation has the name Experience in the Use of BGM in Mining Projects in Peru.
Vamos a avanzar. Para comenzar, debemos saber qué cosa es coletancho o qué es una geomembrana BGM. Bien,
What is Coletanche, or what is a BGM membrane?
compuesta por un geotextil
It's a
molecular,
pre-manufactured
un
tissue
betuminio. Estos dos
which
materiales
has different
tienen
components
el
such
betuminio,
as
tal como se presenta en la imagen.
sand,
Por la cara superior tiene una terminación de
glass,
arena y por la cara inferior tiene un film antiperforación. Bien.
and in the lower part it has an anti-perforation
Sabemos que
tissue.
Coletanche cumple una función súper
Each of the
específica
elements
por lo que presenta una amplia resistencia
of
mecánica
this
y
plate
amplia resistencia al punzonamiento.
has a very important function in the mechanic
Esto, el
protection.
vidrio entrega la característica de que aporta una estabilidad adicional. El
Also,
vidrio
the glass
es liviano,
provides
se
a
encoge
very
independiente
a very
de la
thin
temperatura.
diameter.
Bien.
It doesn't shrink or expand
Aunque tú nos falta
with
ver la
temperature
garantía
changes.
de que el material o el elemento que yo voy a impermeabilizar realmente quede estable.
The element that I'm going
Esto
to
le ayuda
to one
a que el
second.
trabajo sea más seguro para que los trabajadores se puedan agarrar mejor
The
y
element
puedan
that I'm going to apply waterproofing are going to be totally protected.
baja de la BGM es un film para protegerlo de las posibles perforaciones de
This is a
raíces.
field to protect the
Fabricamos
elements with the possible filtrations.
ES1, ES2
We
y
manufacture
ES3.
collagen in different
El espesor
categories.
¿sí? Ahí
The thickness
están considerados de
changes.
5.6
We
milímetros
start
y
from
los diámetros van
3.5
desde 2
millimeters
metros
up to
cuadrados. El
5.6
ancho del espesor es
millimeters.
variable
The
dependiendo
width is
del
standard,
espesor.
all are
Mientras mayor
5.10
es el
meters.
espesor, menor es el
The
peso.
length,
Esto yo con la finalidad de tener
the length of
resultados
the roll
óptimos
changes,
con un peso aproximadamente de 2 toneladas.
and it has an
Esa
approximate weight
superficial
of
que separamos
4.20
dependiendo
kilograms
del espesor
per square
va desde
meter,
4.2 hasta los 6.4.
from
Ahora
4.20 to
bien, una vez que
6.0.
sabemos la composición
Now that we know the elements and the compositions and the
principal
composition of
del
coletange,
coletanche,
I want to show you the main
las
applications.
principales propiedades que tiene
For
una pieza
example, one of its main features
tanto
is
en
that
lo que
it
es el
has an
tránsito de
excellent
maquinaria pesada y
performance.
transportada sobre ruedas.
It allows the
Esto es
transit of heavy
distinto de
machines,
una membrana tradicional, una
and
membrana
this
estándar.
activity is
Bien,
not usually possible
otra característica súper importante es
with a typical
la
material.
resistencia a la tracción.
It
Coletanche
also
tiene una
has
tracción
high resistance to
del
traction.
45% a la vez.
Coletange has 45% of
Este es el
elongation
punto de
versus
partida de
12% of
una membrana.
elongation,
Ahora bien,
which is
cuando
the
yo
point of
utilizo
fluence of an
coletanche, es un
HDPE.
material que ya no vuelve a tener las mismas características.
Because if the
Otra
material changes,
característica
it will not have the same
es la
feature as the
densidad
original.
térmica que tiene la membrana.
Another aspect is the thermal stability.
Ahora sí. La excelente estabilidad térmica que tiene la membrana
It has
es una
excellent
condición
thermal
súper
stability.
importante
This condition is very important
la membrana no se va a expandir ni
because the
tampoco se va a
membrane
contraer
is not
con
going to
diferentes
expand or
características.
shrink
Por ejemplo,
with
esta es una foto de
different
Guatemala.
thermal changes.
Ustedes pueden ver
This
la
is a
membrana de
picture of
Guatemala
Guatemala,
sin arrugas,
where
sin
you
ninguna
can see
resistencia.
our membrane
El
practically without
geomembrane
any shrinks, and on the
LLDPE
other
con
hand,
muchas arrugas.
the membrane LLDPE with many shrinks.
Otra característica súper importante es, por ejemplo, el factor de la masa.
Also, a very important feature is the mass
La
aspect.
masa oscila entre 4,2 a
The mass is
6,4
between
kilogramos por metro cuadrado,
4.2 and
siendo la densidad
6.4
de
kilograms per square
0,6.
meters.
Bien, estos valores son 2 a 4 veces mayores que la masa de una
These
membrana
values are
tradicional
2
o
to
de una membrana
4
2.5
times more
milímetros, que es la que generalmente se utiliza.
than the usual
Si la
membranes
masa
used in the
entonces
projects.
hace menos susceptible al
If
levantamiento,
the mass is
facilita
bigger,
y asegura
it means that it will
más
be
seguridad
more
en las
secure
ráfagas de viento.
in places where there are a lot of
Esto,
winds.
complemento con otros materiales,
Coletange, together with other materials,
favorece
have perfect affinity. They can be placed in different places, like just such, for example, in concrete surfaces, PVC tubes, or steel tubes. This is very typical in mining activities. Another important feature is that it is possible to use and put together a polymeric membrane with Coletanche. This joint is used different chemical products that we develop to guarantee optimal adherence. The joint should be always done in, in an horizontal surface, and it should be placed directly and with force on the floor to avoid any expansion because of thermal changes. This is a very versatile and robust membrane, which is perfect for with reserves, contention of solids and liquids, and it also provides superior encapsulation for mining. Now, I will show you some applications of Coletanche in mining projects in Peru. Cerro Lindo is an underground water dam which is at 2,000 meters above sea level. We built we built this project with above of 30 meters of length, and this dam has an inclination. BGM was installed directly on the compacted surface of the dam and was anchored to the concrete and also on the base. The main reasons of why the specialists suggested the use of a BGM membrane is resistance against solar rays, and this doesn't happen with other kinds of membranes. They do not protect against UV solar rays. And you can remember that in this sector we had an important earthquake, and the subsequent studies showed that there were no damages to this installation because of the earthquake. We also have this project. This is a work in the La Granja mine. This is a copper mine located in the project in the province of Chote in Cajamarca. Their sulfate reservoirs should be handled properly. And as you can see in this image, the mine is located in a valley with an important slope. We used a 4 millimeters membrane for the waterproofing of this reservoir. The next project is in Altamina. This is 4,000 meters above sea level. They wanted to study the potential of acid of this region in order to build on this place. The piles were long, they had 11 meters tall. So you can imagine this granulometry, and for this work we chose our thicker membrane of 5.6 millimeters. Also in Antamina, this is waterproofed with a membrane of HDPE in the execution of an access road, and an explosion created important cracks of the dam. Many of these cracks were below water level.
Actividad que era relativamente muy complicada.
It
Finalmente,
was very complex, this project, and finally, they decided to use a process used in a mine in Asturias, Spain, which was very successful. The process was to put different patches of our membrane in the subaquatic cracks. The adherence of this membrane is done by different products that we manufacture, which has a very slow drying process. And below the water, this membrane can stay together with different chemical processes. We put them on the sides, we applied all the chemicals and materials required, and once the patches were ready, we used the help of some divers, some workers that went below the water level to apply this membrane. The next project is in the mine of Toromocho. This is a water reservoir. The mine built water reserves for their work. They used this membrane because of their resistance to VU rays, and also the possibility of being installed in extreme climate conditions. In the mine of Las Bambas, which is 4,000 meters above sea level, we built the mine, we built the dam of Chuspiri. They built the dam of Chuspiri. It has an important slope of 2 to 1. The designer used a membrane of 4 millimeters to waterproof all the region. The main reasons were the resistance to UV rays, it's resistant to thermal changes, the resistance to winds, of course, considering the extreme conditions of the region. And in some way, it was a very successful project. Now, because of time, I open my email if you have any question, and you can also find us in the platform of Google. Many thanks, Rene, for your attention, and this is our membrane that you can use for your projects.
Nuevamente felicitar, estimado Jorge, una gran exposición con la parte práctica en megaproyectos. Simplemente quiero decir que
Many thanks for your presentation. Axter, through its innovation in the development of the use of BGM, really helps all the mining companies, which is the problem of lixiviation.
Para el sector minero. Muchas gracias y que
So
siga.
many thanks for your contribution, and we hope you continue to strive.